Welcome to FoundHer Rising, the podcast for women founders in wellness coaching and consulting who are ready to build businesses that create freedom, impact, and income. I'm your host, Christine Huckala, business coach, former psychotherapist, and mentor to women scaling service-based businesses. Today, I'm joined by Jemima Blazdell, therapist, coach, and author. She helps women resolve trauma using techniques like EFT and EMDR so they can reconnect with their self-worth and stop putting themselves last. Jemima, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you. I want to hear all of the things, but first let's go back to the beginning. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how you got started in this work.
Yeah, well, as you say, I'm a therapist and coach, and my story really started when I was about 21. I was diagnosed with depression, given antidepressants, and sent to see a counsellor. Yeah, and I'd started self-harming, and I knew I didn't want to do that. So I went to the doctor. I went on antidepressants for about 18 months, but I started seeing a counsellor, and 12 years, 13 counsellors later, I was still having panic attacks. I was still ruled by anxiety. Yeah, nothing had really changed. I told my story many times and nothing shifted. And a friend of mine told me about EFT, and it sort of just kept coming into my awareness. And I went online, saw a video, and I was tapping away and watching what happened.
Yeah, the emotional freedom technique, right?
That's right, yeah. EFT, emotional freedom technique, or tapping, as it's also known. It's tapping on specific points on the head and hands, and it shifts and moves energy, beliefs, thoughts, sensations in your body. So I was just watching this video and tapping, and I felt a shift in my body and in my jaw. It was like something happened to me. So I went on to do the training, and there was a guy there who'd had a car accident in the 60s. And when he recalled this accident, he was shaking and crying. All that trauma came into his body as if it had just happened. Yeah. And the guy got him up on stage, and he tapped with him. He worked through the memory, cleared all this emotion. Took about half an hour, and he said, "How do you feel now?" He said, "I feel like I happened to somebody else." And it was like
shivers. Oh my goodness! As a former therapist myself, I can viscerally relate.
Exactly, absolutely, yeah.
Holy.
And I wanted to tap on anyone who'd get near me. It was just like, I feel like I'm the cure for everything. And I went on to do about 6 months of swaps with people I'd trained with. And within 6 months, I didn't have anxiety anymore. I could become a school governor. I could stand at the school gates and have a conversation with people rather than just kind of throwing my son into school and running off and pretending to be busy.
And it's been 12 years of suffering.
Yeah,
and then months.
All my childhood, all my college years.
Wow.
Completely hiding it the whole time and just pretending I was okay. Yeah. And suddenly things were different. So I became a full-time therapist at that point. Yeah, exactly. I was like, I want to share
all of
this.
a sudden, right? Your own healing, and then your path of how you wanted to give back was clear.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So how'd that happen? I know you didn't wake up one day and suddenly like, I'm going to open my own private practice. What was that journey like for you, from not only your own personal healing, but then deciding like you wanted to become a therapist and have your own practice?
Well, before doing EFT, I'd already started down becoming a counsellor. I started the counselling skills course. I was going down that route. So I knew I wanted to be in therapy in some form. I did psychology A-level when I was like 15, 16. So I knew that I was interested in that, but it was always, yeah, exactly. And then when I found that you could actually do something practical and physical to create a change in someone's body, that's when I became the therapist rather than going down the counselling route, because it's like, you need that part, but I want people to feel different. I want to affect the change that I'd felt. Yeah. So that was the beginning. And I got a job at a local spa, giving talks and running sessions. So that just kind of led to a practice on its own, because it just, there was the ready-made audience.
From the beginning to go into private practice? How did that go?
I didn't really know what I was going to do, but I can't remember either how I got in touch with that hotel. Someone must have recommended it to me. And I went and I said, I do EFT, and they were looking for somebody. And she said, do you want to give a talk? I was like, okay, sure, why not? So I rocked up, gave a talk. Never done public speaking. Never.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I talked about what fascinated me and what and what really made me understand it, which was the formation of core beliefs, how those early memories impact us still, these early moments of trauma, how we make decisions and how we maintain those decisions, they become beliefs. So I gave this kind of, this is what happens in your mind. And then I would do a demonstration. So I'd bring someone up. So it kind of like, as I was trained, I kind of demonstrated that. Yeah. And people would see the demo and then go, oh, does it work with this? Does it work with this? Because suddenly they could see and feel
suddenly
the
you had
change.
a whole bunch of potential clients.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what led to my private practice.
Oh, wow. So more that you had the demand first and then kind of thought, well, I'm just going to open up my own private practice. I have the clients. Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So
what were some of the biggest challenges in those early days? Because we know that opening up a private practice isn't just like that. I mean, the clients are a huge part of it. But what were some of the early challenges of becoming now a business owner as well?
Yeah. Well, I remember I handed my notice in and signing up for a marketing course on the same day with somebody else who had done, she was an EFT practitioner. So I handed in my notice, signed up to this marketing course. I was like, okay, I'm in. And I've always kind of been a bit trusting my instincts, diving into this feels good, this feels right. But the challenges at the beginning were doing the talk and the public speaking and can I do this? And but being very ambitious, like I would have a vision. I want to be at Wembley tapping with 50,000 people. Like this is what I want to do. I want there to be an EFT person in every school, and I want the Samaritans to be tapping. You know, it was like that's kind of how it felt. It was so much bigger than me. So I actually rang the O2 in London. I said, "Hi, can I book you? I want to do an event." And they were like, "No offense, but who are you?" I was like, "Okay, maybe I'm a little bit early for this. I haven't done that yet." But the drive and the passion has always been there so deeply that it's kind of led me. And the difficulty has been like, I want to be over there and I'm here. So it's like taking the time to set up those steps. So I used to do webinars back then when GoToWebinar was the software before Zoom and all that stuff. Yeah, like way back when. And I'm in the corner of my bedroom pretending to talk to 100 people, you know, month after month, just honing the skill and just, So always my intention was there. And it's taken time and, you know, energy and trying lots of different things. I would do groups and workshops and speak on other people's events. But it's just been what's driven me for, 15, 16 years now.
I love this, and I can so resonate with, you know, you have the vision and then it's just a matter of how do I bridge that gap. And not everybody thinks like that. I do. So I so get it. A lot of the women that I speak with, you know, have a harder time with the vision, and the present moment is a lot easier. What would you say, like, as someone who has always had that vision and then noticing the gap of where you are and where you want to be, from the time you started as a therapist and opened your practice to now, what have some of those big turning points along the way been that have shaped your business as it is today? Yeah.
Well, one phrase really sticks out in my mind, which kind of summed it all up, which was, why would I learn to swim when I have a boat? Like,
ooh, I like that.
To swim in case you fall in. So I was like, I'm on the boat, I'm over there. But what the whole process has made me do is to learn the swimming, you know, learn the basics, get really good at everything, understand how the business works, how to connect with people, what works, what doesn't. But the most important thing, and I know you know this, is like, if you're in therapy or if you're in any kind of service, you need to keep doing the work. So I've had therapy of some form or another every week for 30 years now, and I will forever. You're not taking care of, you're not receiving the service, like how can you serve anyone else? Exactly. Yeah. So, and somebody, a therapist who really helped me, she's what I call her, the one who woke me up. She told me, we were talking about a victim story. She said, "Do you know what a victim story is? Because you're running one." And I was like, it's not me, it's them. Wow. Oh, okay. And she really, literally, as I say, woke me up. And she said to me, if you want to do this, you need to. I said, what's the advice? To do the work. And I have. And that was a real moment. for me.
Yeah, amazing. I love how those moments in our lives like just stand out, like not only as personal turning points, but like you feel them viscerally even as you remember them. What advice would you have to somebody who say, is earlier on in their journey, whether they're a therapist or other wellness provider and starting their own business? What are the core learnings, that really stand out for you in those early days of building your business that you just want to pass on to anyone listening?
Yeah, I would say to trust yourself and your vision, and to, if you want it, it wants you to. Like, if you want to help people, they need that help. The people are waiting for you. And that's been, I think, the biggest thing in the last few years, as all the work I've been doing has sort of finally been coming back, and I'm being noticed a bit more, and it's sort of like the cloak has fallen almost, all the work's paying off. And you realize that there are certain people need you, only you, to be woken up by, essentially. They'll only hear that message from you. So your voice is so important. And I'm currently writing my second book, and I'm working with a book coach, and she said, I know that your voice is vital, as I would say to every person.
So important.
Yeah. And that self-belief is there.
I love that. I love the way that you speak about it and how poignantly you just cut to the chase of like, there's somebody out there that needs to hear your voice, not somebody else's. And I often hear, especially like newer to the field service providers say, well, why would anyone choose me when there's people up the ladder have been doing this for 10, 20 years? And I think it's that, the feedback I've given them, I probably didn't say it as eloquently as you, but it's the clients that get drawn to us do so for a reason. We're not best in the world. We're not the most experienced. We do a different approach. But there's a reason that the clients are drawn to us. Yeah. You are obviously somebody who has walked the walk, right? Not just talk the talk, but walk the walk. You've lived this, your entire life. And now not only do you continue to do the personal work, you're really dedicated to giving back as well. What would you say are some of the biggest differences or just lessons learned between being an effective service provider versus then also being an effective business owner? Like, talk to us just about that gap and what you've learned and insights you have.
Well, what comes to mind is when I first started out, I didn't charge very much per session, for example. So I remember charging 20 quid for a session, just learning the way. And I had a client who said, oh, can I pay less? I'm really in need. So I only charged her £5. She never turned up to the sessions. She never did the homework. She had no value in the work. And it was such a good lesson for me. Yeah. But it was really like, if people aren't going to show up and not going to commit and not going to pay the money, they're not going to get the work. They're not going to get the change. So that was a really important, the business needs you to charge money, and it works both ways. It's about value and exchange. And if you can see your business as a vehicle for producing results rather than something that's in control, if you like, it is the vehicle. The work is the work, and you need to charge for it. Yes. Basically.
We often talk on this show about how it's important to charge a rate and charge an amount that is sustainable, that allows us to keep doing the work. It's fairly obvious as we talk about it that when we undercharge and we're not earning enough and we can't take care of ourselves, like the business becomes unsustainable, and then we're not doing anyone, a service. I want to point out, what you're touching on, and it's also something I learned kind of early on in my days as a therapist, that when we're undercharging a client, right, we might initially think or tell ourselves we're doing them a favor, but time and time again, what we see when we undercharge is actually clients don't value the service in the same way. And I don't mean that as a blanket statement. There's always exceptions to the rule. I certainly had a lot of clients that were very dedicated, but typically, the more we charge and the more people are paying, the more they get out of the work, right? Because they're committed. They've got some.
They're investing more, they'll receive.
Yeah,
it's all about that investment in the self value. And I have a lot of free stuff. I do a lot. Give a lot. Yeah. And so there's that accessibility if people need it. But if they really want change, then the one-to-one work is the only thing that's really going to hit those deeper parts. Your unconscious mind won't let you go to those deep parts on your own. Yeah. It just won't, because it doesn't want you to go there. So you need someone to walk with you to get to those deeper parts that really change your life when you change them.
Yeah. And I really appreciate your business model, how you have a variety of different offerings. Some of them are paid, some of them are higher paid, some of them are free, right? And we can do all the things. It's just that unless we have a massive trust fund, we can't do it all for free all the time. Yeah. So just finding that balance so that the work becomes sustainable for you and you can still be of service.
Yeah. My son and I have this conversation every now and then. It's like, how can we just pay someone to pay us to just be alive, because we've got so much to do and there's so much self-care, and it just like, can we just have that funded and then we can just drive around and have a nice time? But it's not, but we need it, don't we? We need work. Otherwise we wouldn't expand. We need each other. Like it's not wrong to have work or to do this personal development. It's very important for the whole planet and for everyone individually as well.
Agreed. If something in this episode feels uncomfortably familiar, that's not an accident. A lot of the women who listen to this show are at that in-between stage. The business works, but it's heavy. You're the bottleneck. You're stretched, you know something needs to shift, but you're not sure what the right next move is. That's exactly why I offer free connection calls with my team. It's not a pitch, it's a real conversation about where you are, what's actually in the way, and whether I'm the right person to help you scale this without burning out or compromising your values. If you want clarity instead of more guessing, book one. The link's in the show notes. All right, let's keep going. Speaking of real work and real relationships, one of the things I wanted to discuss with you is, you've done a lot of speaking. You've spent a lot of your life and career building relationships, building meaningful relationships with people. And that's something that I bring up, that I talk a lot about in the context of marketing. And sometimes when we hear the word marketing as a service provider, we think about posting on social media or like running Google ads or whatever, rebuilding our website. Talk to me about how you see marketing and, how that connects to like your experience of building real relationships, whether that's through speaking or otherwise.
Yeah, relationships are everything, basically. Whether you're helping someone or whether you're sharing information. And this kind of took a while, as you say, kind of the social media is like, things we don't like. I get very little through social media. But people come and they find it and they get to know you and your voice. And that's what people want. The relationship is about trust. And people need to be able to trust who they're working with, especially doing this kind of stuff. And just being available as much as possible and keeps having your intention that you want to be out there and just, you don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work. I go to an online networking group here, and I was interviewed for a podcast there actually, and two people I've gone into a one-to-one with them and they've both gone, I saw your podcast. And it's like, and it's like, it's really special that people have access. Like we didn't have this years ago, did we? The internet is a wonderful thing for growth and sharing, but the relationship is key on that. It really is. It's the basis of life. We're here to have relationships.
Yeah. I meet a lot of folks and have a lot of conversations around this like notion of like hiding behind the internet, right? As much as it can be of value, obviously it has its downsides. And one of the things that I see that hinders service providers is when they are taught or have adopted beliefs that they can just post on social media, right? Or have a fancy website and then that's supposed to grow their business. What advice would you have to somebody who is newer to marketing, right? About how to utilize or leverage real relationships to actually grow their business?
Yeah. Well, this is the thing that's common of every marketing course and thing I've ever read. People talk about your ideal client and talking to that one person. And that it really does work. When you have one person in mind, it could be real or imaginary, that they have the pain that you are able to heal or help them to heal, rather. When you talk to them, then everyone who's listening will feel that authenticity, whether it's them you're talking to, they will feel the truth. And that word authentic gets bandied around a bit, but it's so important that speaking the truth, people hear it and they'll take what they need from it. And if you can see marketing as a way to connect, that's all it is. So, and you can do as much or as little as you want, as long as you're using what you believe to be the right reason and your intention behind it is everything.
Yeah, I so see that. And for you, one of the avenues you found to build real relationships and speak authentically and share about yourself and your journey has been through speaking. What are some of the other kind of platforms or ways that you have found really helpful to build real relationships?
Well, like I mentioned, when I first started out, I spoke at a local hotel. So it was a hotel spa, and I spoke every month for 6 years. I think I'd give a talk there.
Oh my gosh, 6
Yeah.
years. Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It was great. Yeah. And that led to a practice in London because most of the clients came from London. So I had a room in Harley Street for a while, and that all ended with lockdown. But interestingly, the same team have moved to another hotel that are closer to me here, a place called Goodwood.
Oh, wow.
And they're starting up wellness retreats, and they have a huge emphasis on wellness and emotional learning. So we're working on the retreats there. So there's this whole, and the wellness industry is huge now because we need it. Everybody needs it. Like everybody needs therapy. People will say to me, "Oh, I don't." You know, when you're working with somebody and they might say, "Oh, I didn't know what to bring today." I'm like, brilliant. Now we're really getting to the good stuff. You're about to have a breakthrough. Exactly. You're like, I've been waiting for this moment. So I can't remember what you asked me. I was speaking and how that has been a platform, I think. What was the question?
Yes, I'm building. You're good. Good. I'm just really curious, like, to hear your perspective. And, I think you did answer the question, but the point that really stands out for me is how leveraging real relationships, goes such a long way in building your business.
Absolutely. Yeah. So all of my work pretty much comes through referrals because you have the relationship with someone, you have the connection with someone, they want their friends to share in the same experience. And that just speaks for itself, really. Yeah, we're all here to be happy. If we're not happy, we need to heal, and we heal in relationship. It's just because if we don't care, we don't care. Stuff doesn't come up. If it's the bus driver and if it's someone else and you really have a chemical, physical reaction, that's the gold that's going to take you to the trauma that's going to resolve, that's going to heal your life.
Shifting gears a little bit to the ways that you're going to continue to support your clients in the future. Now, I know I can ask this, and I'm sure you'll be excited to answer because you're like me, you're a future-oriented person.
Yes.
When you look at the evolution of your business and the things that you want to grow into and create over the next few years, what do you see your business becoming? What do you want to create more of, do more of?
Well, it's interesting. So I'm currently rebranding my website, and I created the Stress-Free Life Academy because I wanted courses, I wanted self-help so that when you're 19 and looking on the internet in the middle of the night, you've got something that will help you. That was my driver because that's what I needed when I was 19. What's turned out is that one-to-ones are what I love doing and where it's most effective. And people don't really want to do my courses. They want to come and work with me, which is wonderful. Exactly. So I'm focusing more on one-to-ones, but as I say, I'm writing a second book. I had my first book was 100 Stress-Free Days, where I did a video every day on Instagram for 100 days. And it was a tip on how to feel better. Yeah, could be a breathing technique, could be a journaling, something. And I turned that into a book. So you've got 100 tips. My second book is a bit of a mixture of, there's 6 case studies or a kind of characterization of someone with anxiety. And then the next section is like a recipe book for anxiety. So how to deal with anxiety as if it was a recipe. So for breakfast, you do a breathing technique. For lunch, you do something else. So it's half fictional and half practical. Yeah. So that is what I want to do, is give people the tools so that they can help themselves to as far as possible.
Yeah. I love this balance between giving through your books, through your talks. Sounds like you've got a lot of content online as well. And then really the real bread and butter for you, both in terms of your business as well as impact for your clients, is the one-on-one. You mentioned that you've explored groups and programs. There's a hotel now doing retreats. What are your thoughts about offering, anything like that in the future?
Yeah, so I do that still. So as I say, I'm working on one of the retreats there. So I'll go and give a talk on EFT, and then people can book, similarly to how I did before. And I'm doing a collaboration later this year with a PT in Australia. He's doing the PT, and I'm doing the emotional stuff. And that's a 6-week course. So I'm looking for more collaborations as well this year, so we can just reach as many people in as many ways as possible. With that core of one-to-one underneath all of that. So I'm looking for more talk. I'm giving more talks. I'm getting out there more in person as well as online.
Fantastic. One more question for you, and it's a 2-parter. When you look into the future about where your business is going, what you're building, what's the one thing you're most excited about, and what's the biggest challenge you're anticipating?
So my picture on the wall, I've got a picture of the planet and it says, I am raising the vibration of the earth. That is my biggest motivation.
I love that so much.
Yeah. And you can say that, well, I've done that because I feel a bit better, so I've done it. But really, it's like...
never ending.
And that is the challenge, is like where, why do you do that? How does that show up every day? And in the past, the issues have been, I start off, I've got loads of ideas, brilliant. And then sometimes they'll fall off and not get finished. I've got lots of unfinished ideas. So that's my personal challenge.
Like a true entrepreneur.
Exactly. Hence having a book coach this time. But there's something about this year, I don't know if you've noticed this as well, there's a new energy around, and there's like, this is the time. I was 50 a couple of weeks ago, and it's like, okay, I've been building to this moment. This is like, I'm ready. Like, it's taken me this long.
Yeah, no,
but there's something, freer and more joyful, and it just feels like things are working more easily now. Yeah. I don't know if that's...
Yeah, I love that. Like just keeping that idea. And I imagine that with that also comes a great sense of responsibility of like in your words, you said like raising the vibration of the planet, right? And it sounds like a lot of the way that you make decisions about how you're going to grow your business, what you're going to say yes to or no to, as the case may be, is based on the impact of that. Absolutely.
And really trusting when to say yes and when to say no. It's so important, because you can just say yes to everything and it's not right. And I've been down that road. I've been to places that haven't worked and tried things that haven't worked. And I've got something within me where I need to experience something to make a decision. So if you know about human design and all those, do you know human design? So it's all different energy and how,
Yeah.
So
showing up for me is like, and maybe you don't conceptualize it this way, but like as intuition, like almost like a felt sense that when you're there, you're in the conversation, you're in the environment, like you can sense maybe like the vibration of whether this is in alignment for you or not.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's taken that self-trust when that's there, it's just becomes stronger and stronger. And that's the thing to keep coming back to and go, oh, I was right. Yeah. And just to enjoy it, basically enjoy it.
Yes. Yeah, that so lands. What do you see as the biggest challenge? What's the thing that's either going to get in the way or present an obstacle or a challenge or just even a new growth edge?
Yeah. It would be getting too caught up in the ideas and not taking the action. That's been the past. Yeah. And I'm kind of waiting for that to happen, is like when, and but it's, I think as well, it's like you've got the list, some things are going to fall off the list, and that's fine.
As
long as you keep coming back to your core intention and your core message, and you're showing up with that wherever you are, you can't fail, really. So I think it's what's the challenge is, well, knowing you can get there as well.
It's like staying true to your vision, right? Like the image that you have on your wall, knowing where you want to head. I think as you said, knowing what to say yes to and what to say no to is a part of it. But then the part I'm hearing that I can say you're definitely not alone in, that can be a real challenge, is there's so many of those great ideas, and there's only one of us. There's only so many hours in a day. And my experience is that a lot of us who become entrepreneurs do so because we're very creative and we have a lot of ideas. And that can be a blessing. It can also be, somewhat of a curse when we also feel compelled to implement every one of those ideas because we start so many projects that we can't finish.
Yeah. And also algorithms and things that you watch online, all that kind of thing. You'd think that if you looked online, that everyone who was born had written a self-help book. Like, that's not true. There's a very small number of people who've done that. It's like, it's not, so it doesn't mean that I shouldn't do that because so many other people have done that. It feels like, well, what's the point? There's so much of it out there. Exactly. So it's kind of using the stuff that you see to turn it around, to hone what it is that you're interested in and what you want to do. Because we could all write a book on the same subject and it would be completely different.
Yes. Agreed. Yeah.
But
And to recognize too that just because, almost on the flip side, is just because someone else is doing something doesn't mean that we should or that we need to. And the businesses and the women that I see become most successful have that vision and stay very focused on it. And not that they don't change or shift course strategically, right? And through a decision-making process, but that we don't get pulled off course by what I call bright, shiny object syndrome, right? We're going to have those ideas, but I actually have a parking lot, like literally on my project management software where my ideas go. And I have a rule for myself that I only revisit my ideas every quarter. And if I have an idea, amazing, I will let myself go to town writing about it, talking about it, whatever it is. But it's parked in my parking lot so that I can give it some time to breathe. And sometimes I get ideas and I go, what was I even thinking? But if I keep coming back to that idea time and time again, month after month, quarter after quarter, right, then I might, get the insight or the nudge of like, this is something to pay attention to.
Yeah. And that's really the vision that I had of the tapathon, as I call it, at Wembley, like 15 years ago or something. That was all about getting tapping and EFT and now all the other techniques that I've learned since then to where it's needed. That's what that vision was about. And I've sort of visited that picture many times. I've been on stage, I've been backstage, I've been in the front row, I've been all over this experience. And it's everybody's working together, the community's there together, people are healing together. That's the essence of it. And that's the work I'm doing now.
Yeah. And it sounds like the challenge for you within that is like, there's actually so many ways to do that. And then what's the way that is best for you, best for the people you want to serve, that feels in alignment and exciting.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Jemima, I can imagine that there's people listening who want to know more about you, the work that you do, how to connect. Where's the best place for people to connect with you?
So as I say, I'm about to rewrite my website. My current one is stressfreelifeacademy.com and my new one is jemimablazdell.com, but they'll both be live for a while. But Stress Free Life Academy or Jemima Blazdell, you'll find me. And all my socials are Jemima Blazdell. So Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. I have a newsletter and a YouTube channel as well. That's Jemima EFT.
So you're fairly easy to find. We're just going to Google your name and find you on all the socials. Amazing. Thank you so much to Jemima for just vulnerably sharing your story and your insights. And I'm just so proud to have you as a guest and to have you share your story with all of our listeners. Thank you, listener, for tuning in to Founder Rising. If today's episode resonated with you, follow the show, share it with another founder, and leave a quick review. It helps more women find these conversations. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or learn more at huckalahorizons.com. Until next time, keep rising and keep building the business that gives you freedom to live, lead, and create on your terms.